Hello and welcome to today's puzzle Majestic word tour. But of course, in this case, word means the chessboard. Let's start off by analyzing the material difference. Both of us has a queen, a dark squared bishop, and black has a light squared bishop for our knight. And then black has an extra rook. So we are down a whole rook. But we have a couple of extra pawns. Let's move on to position analysis. We can see that our king on a4 looks extremely vulnerable. There's a threat of mate on b4, so we cannot move our bishop because it's the only thing defending that square. Our queen is defending the second file and the critical c2 square where the queen can jump and deliver us a checkmate. In addition, our knight is hanging as well. We can start off by trading our knight for the enemy's light bishop, but that does not help our situation as we will still be down a rook. So, as the name of this puzzle suggests, we have to find moves all over the board in order to come ahead in this situation. So the first move of this puzzle is queen a8 check. And the king has only one legal move, king to c7. Now we can pick up this free rook as this was a skewer, but this is not the time to be greedy as after we pick up the rook, the critical c2 square which was protected by our queen is now free and black can simply checkmate us. So instead of equalizing the material difference, we have to force another check, queen a7. Now the king can move in one of three ways. If black plays queen to d8, we can simply checkmate on d7 with the support of our knight. If black decides to go back to c8, then we can take advantage of the harmony between our queen and the knight by giving d7 check, picking up the bishop, and after king to b8, the knight hops in, delivering another check. Now the king is forced to go to a8, which is just a mate in the next move. So the best move for black is to run its king down the board, attacking our loose knight and threatening the same checkmate on c2. So now we might be thinking that hey, we can deliver a fork on f7, winning the rook and equalizing the material once again. As we discussed it before, we cannot give a black any chance because the next move black can play freely, it can give us a mate on c2. So the fork doesn't look like a good idea now. The other option is to give up our knight for the bishop. The other moves that come to mind are giving a check with our pawn, hoping that black would capture with its own pawn and therefore freeing our bishop. But black's king can simply run to e4 and then d3, leaving us with no great follow-up. And if we give e7 check, although black only has one legal move, f5, and it might look good that we are pushing the king to our pawns where we might be able to find a checkmate, but that is too optimistic. If we give queen d7 check, the king can run up. If we play queen f7 check, the king can run to h3 protected by our own pawns. So the situation doesn't get better for white in this case. So let's go back. If we look at the long diagonal a1 h8, we can see it's a skewer fest. As after queen g7 check, we are threatening to take the rook or the queen, but keep in mind that this bishop is protecting its queen. So even if we take the queen, it will just be a trade and we will end up in a losing position due to being a rook down. This is the tricky part of this puzzle. Somehow we need to find a move that will push the queen away from the protection of this bishop, but still keeping it on the same diagonal. So we can potentially skewer the king and win the queen. And that brilliant move is bishop b2, pinning the queen to its king and also keeping it on the same diagonal. And since the queen is pinned, black cannot checkmate us on b4. Now black does not have any option here except for taking our bishop. Because if black plays any other move like rook g8 or king g6, we simply grab the queen and end up in a winning advantage. So black is kind of forced to take the bishop and then we can play the skewer move. Now it doesn't matter where the king moves. In this case, king moves to d6 and we simply win the queen. So that's the solution of this puzzle. We literally went around the whole world, starting off with queen a8 check, then queen a7 check, then queen d7 check, then another check on g7, and finally back to the second file on b2. Let's go through the moves once again. We start with queen a8 check, and after king to c7, we give another check on a7, forcing the king down the board. Then we take the bishop in exchange for our knight. At that point, we found a very intelligent move, bishop b2, pinning the queen, and after the queen takes, We land on g7 with the check, skewering the king with its rook and the queen. And after the king moves away, we grab the queen, and now we can see that white is in a great position, being up a queen for rook and a bishop and a couple of extra pawns. That will do it for this one. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.